A warm welcome to everybody. So today let's talk about tonicity. So firstly, let's define tonicity. So it's a measure to determine the direction of the flow of solvent. To better understand this definition, so let's go to this diagram. So this first diagram, diagram A, is about hypotonic solution. Diagram B is hypertonic solution, and diagram C is isotonic solution. Firstly, before understanding the or explaining the concept, firstly let's understand what actually is hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic solution. So hypotonic solutions are those solutions which contains more water. Hypertonic solutions are those solutions which contains less water, and isotonic solutions are those solutions which contains equal water. That is, the amount of water in the solution and the amount of water in the cell is equal. So firstly, let's understand hypotonic solution. Here what happens is, since the amount of water in the solution is more compared to the cell, the water from the solution will enter the cell, whereby the cell will become bigger. Such kind of solution is called as hypotonic solution. Now let's go to hypertonic solution. So as I said, the solution contains less water compared to the cell. That means the water from the cell will go outside, whereby the cell will become small or the cell will shrink. Now let's talk about isotonic solution. Here the amount of water in the solution is equal to the amount of water in the cell. So there is no movement of water, or we can also say there is equal movement of water. That means the water going out from the cell and water coming inside is equal. So that means the cell will remain the same. Now, in order to understand the tonicity, we need to understand the terms such as turgid, flaccid, and plasmolysed. Firstly, let's understand the term turgid. So turgid happens in hypotonic solution. What happens is, the amount of water in the solution is more compared to the amount of water in the cell. So that means the water will get inside the cell, whereby the cell will become bigger. The cell will get enlarged. So this is called as turgid. So we say the cell has become turgid, and the condition is called as turgidity, become bigger. Now let's talk about this cell. Here what happens is, we have put this cell inside the hypertonic solution. That means hypertonic solution means the amount of water in the solution is less compared to the amount of water present inside the cell. That means the water from the cell will go outside, whereby the cell will become small. So, or the cell will shrink. So now we call this cell as, the cell has become flaccid, and the condition is called as flaccidity. Now if you place this flaccid cell inside a more hypertonic solution, or a solution containing very minimal water, so what happens is, the cell will further shrink. The cell will further shrink. The cell will become further smaller. So such condition is called as plasmolysed. Okay. So the practical example of plasmolysed cell is salting of meat. In order to dry the meat, we put the salt so that the grass dies. The meat dies. Another practical example is, if you put the salt in the lawn, LAWN, lawn. So what happens is, this salt is going to remove the water from the grasses, wherever the grasses will die. So such condition is called as plasmolysed. With this, we come to the end of tonicity. Thank you.